Jupiter opposite Jupiter in Synastry. So sharing the Synastry aspect with someone I find to be quite difficult, hence the opposition. Usually I have an optimistic and philosophical approach and understanding due to universal law and necessity of opposites. As you should know, it's impossible to have one without the other, which is officially known as the law of polarity. Interpreting this Synastry dynamic requires treading lightly, as is the same for those who have a significant other and or person of interest with this mixture. With any other oppositional Synastry, I would more than likely support and even encourage those to do the work to understand and stay together despite the difficulties that arise. However, with Jupiter opposite Jupiter in Synastry, things become tricky for many reasons. Jupiter is the planet of the gods, and in mythology and history, gods and goddesses' main priority was that of teaching. Their main teaching method was by being an example. One of the ruling gods of Jupiter is Zeus. My mentioning of Zeus is for the sole purpose of explaining how powerful, influential, and damaging having the Synastry with another can be, especially if one's beliefs and mental discipline is not strong and or worse if it is. With much difficulty trying to get to the point, understand it is common to see two people with different spiritual and or religious beliefs or wants and needs in life. As an example, one person may be a Christian, whereas the other is an atheist. One person may believe in astrology, whereas the other does not. One person may be Muslim, whereas the other is Catholic. One person may be politically Democratic, whereas the other is a Republican. One person may believe in having a big family, whereas the other does not want children, and so forth. Personally, I believe wholeheartedly in spirituality and astrology. Through hardships, I have found out that it may be impossible for me to ever marry or be with anyone long term who does not understand astrology on a higher level like me, nor can I be with someone who is unable to tap in spiritually like me. Now, from a general perspective, most people befriend those who are like them, who think like them and usually want the same things in life. Why? Because we all want to relate and feel understood. Most times we will disconnect, reject, or deny anyone who does not like or share the same beliefs, lifestyle, and so forth as us. The same concept applies having the Synastry in opposition to your significant other and or person of interest. This is not a Synastry where I believe you can work through. Now going back to the god Zeus governing Jupiter. The energy and beliefs of one and or the other are so strong that there's no compromise. Perhaps another word for this is both individuals have a strong conviction for how they should live and be in life. For example, if you want children and your significant other does not, tell me how this can be compromised. If one gets their way, the other will forever be resentful and unable to truly relate, be happy, and live their life how they believe is right for them. Having Jupiter opposite Jupiter in Synastry is riddled with deal breakers. The Synastry will be found in interracial, LGBTQ. For example, you will see someone in a relationship who is a fitness junkie and the other is overweight, etc. But again, because Jupiter rules beliefs that are strongly held, one person in the dynamic may over time feel pressure to abandon their beliefs for the other. This not only reveals superficiality and inauthenticity, but births resentment over time. I have seen secular women convert to Muslim faith to keep their man, for example. I do not see this decision being made for genuine purposes or due to a connection with Allah. Or men will agree to having children to keep or make a woman happy even though he doesn't really want them, and vice versa. The Synastry becomes tricky because, as aforementioned, the Synastry is riddled with deal breakers, and yet most people refuse to break up or find someone else with similar goals and beliefs. This is due to hopeful thinking. Maybe they'll change their mind, and most times they do not. And best believe arguments, regrets, divorces, infidelity, domestic violence, drama, and legal battles ensue. A smart person would acknowledge the red flags or deal breakers as they come up. Like if you know that someday you want to have a family and a lot of children, do not try to force things to work with someone who does not share the same desire. Loving, quote unquote, someone should not be the reason you are willing to convert to a religion that you do not resonate or agree with. True love, unconditional love, would not expect you to change your beliefs, wants, and desires just to have the relationship. And unfortunately, this is another reason why the Synastry with someone is tricky. Personally, I am into occult studies, astrology, and astronomy. I cannot be with someone who does not believe or value those things because this confirms that they are unable to understand me on some level, and secretly they probably think I'm silly. It's a mockery. I would feel like I have to hide that aspect of myself that is most important to me. Plus, how do you love someone if you do not accept or understand them? I view this as not really knowing who I am, therefore there's no way you can love me. If you were curious, I have Jupiter and Libra in the 12th house, but I digress. Another thing to note, Jupiter does also influence our in-laws. So for those of you who want to get married or are already married and share the synastry, please expect your in-laws to reject you. Due to this being Jupiter opposite Jupiter, both sides of the family will not like you or each other. You will be viewed as the Jezebel and or the thug. You will be blamed for brainwashing their beloved child and turning them against their upbringings. I've witnessed this with celebrity athletes. For example, the man, if he's the celebrity athlete, and let's say he's black, his mom is black, sisters are black, father and brother, so forth and so on. The point is, he was raised as a black man, and the expectation is for him to choose a black woman. Instead, he chooses a white woman or a Spanish woman. This will cause an uproar in both families because the white or Spanish woman, for example, will have a family that expected them to marry or date within their race as well. A wealthy family will expect their children to marry wealthy, but let's say they do not. Let's say they marry down. This will cause an uproar for both families. The wealthy family will be mad their child married someone who doesn't have the same financial standing and will be convinced that their child is being used for money. As for others, their family will be jealous or resentful towards the wealthy family and claim their child as a sellout. I can give so many different examples because, well, the universe, our world, and reality are made up of polarity, opposites, so hopefully you get the gist. In conclusion, I may be biased, but I do not recommend continuing a relationship with someone who has the synastry aspect with you. There will never be peace, authenticity, or long-term happiness. Now, having my Jupiter in Libra in the 12th house, it is imperative for me to have peace and to share the same values, beliefs, wants, and desires with someone that I intend to spend my life with. I do not want constant tension, drama, misunderstandings, power struggles, or feeling less than. There will always be challenges in life and in relationships. However, this synastry aspect is too sensitive, too powerful, and too influential, and immensely important to all of us and should be honored as opposed to changed. Again, if you want children, be with someone who wants that instead of fighting someone to have them and or feeling anxious to tell someone that you're pregnant who doesn't want kids. This can also play out where a woman is unable to bear children and either she does not tell the man who wants children or the man will stay despite wanting children that he'll never have with her. Over time, this will bring up this will be brought up over time and the damaging arguments will take place. Anyway, you deserve someone who will share the same excitement, not opposite, no pun intended. Keep in mind, my pregnancy examples are just that, an example of how the synastry can play out in real time.